From suing daycares to employee arrest, today we look at 11 dark Disney secrets. Number 11. Disney gangs. Gangs roam Disneyland, but it's not what you think. Oh, there are occasional turf battles and reports of the odd fistfight. Sometimes there are instances of DWI, Disneying while intoxicated. Still, there are hundreds, perhaps thousands of Disney devotees in so-called social clubs who dress the part of gang members, but primarily stick strictly to the Disney code. They look tough to establish Diz cred among themselves. Today, there are over 90 of these Disney gangs. They have names such as the Wonderlanders SC, Walt's Misfits, Main Street Elite, and the Neverlanders. But they love the Magic Kingdom and everything about it, and that's why they're there. Not necessarily with approval, but with tolerance. Disney has accepted the roaming gangs. The members of these social clubs have annual passes and meet up on Instagram and Facebook to plan their in-park gatherings. They treat the theme park as home. Based on their appearance, Walt Disney might have had them thrown out, but contemporary dress guidelines are tolerant of denim, vests, tattoos, and piercings, which are all reminiscent of the motorcycle gangs they emulate. Sort of ironic, Disney gangs. You'll see them all over the parks, especially near the Matterhorn in Disneyland and in California Adventure, where alcohol is served. Number 10. Measles outbreak. Several visitors at the Magic Kingdom got the measles from other guests at the Disneyland theme park in Anaheim at the end of 2014. In total, 147 people in the U.S. were infected as a result of this outbreak. Many of the victims, including children, hadn't gotten their MMR shot, measles, mumps, and rubella, because they were too young or they didn't believe in vaccinations. But 2 adults who were infected did receive their MMR shot in the recommended dosage. The fact is that statistically, the numbers make sense. Measles are extremely contagious. If a single person has it, 90 out of 100 people who they come into contact with who are not vaccinated will get it. The MMR shot is not 100% effective, so even among those who are vaccinated, there is still a 3% risk of infection. So many people attend a theme park that the odds are that some of them, even those who have taken their shots, are going to come down with the measles because they're exposed to a few who already have the disease. That's what happened here. And it could happen again, especially if the national trend of not taking vaccines continues. In 2014, 635 people in the US contracted measles. That's more than the total cases in the previous 4 years combined. Number 9. Scattering ashes. The Magic Kingdom is beloved by millions all around the world, in all of its locations. It only makes sense that some would want to be part of it forever. The fact that it's illegal doesn't stop some people who want their loved ones' ashes to rest in the happiest place on earth. In Anaheim, California, police decided not to charge a woman who apparently scattered the ashes of her dear departed into the waters of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland. Witnesses saw her sprinkle a substance similar to baby powder into the artificial river. The dust quickly disappeared. Police could not get a good description of the woman, and the evidence of the crime had dissolved. But according to the theme park employees, this is not nearly the only instance of this behavior. When guests ask permission to sprinkle ashes in Disney parks, the park says no. However, many do so anyway. If they do, there's no health hazard to Disney guests, according to a Disney spokesperson. Number 8. Feral cats. Nobody wants to see rats running around Disneyland. But to keep the rat population down, there is a somewhat secret weapon. Over 200 feral cats live in the attraction. They have full freedom to roam after sundown. They are seldom seen during the crowded daytime hours. Disney sets up food stations around the park for them, keeps them hydrated, and has the adult cats spayed and neutered. They are treated as cast members, just like employees. Keeping the rodent population under control is important for at least 2 reasons. Basic health regulations forbid rodents around any place that prepares and serves food as Disney does. And Disney feels that it is much preferable to accidentally stumble upon a feral cat during your visit than a scavenging rat, should you happen to be surprised at the park. Number 7. Go directly to Disney jail. Graduation nights are reportedly the worst times for the theme parks, and the worst guests are teens. All-night grad night is when all of Disneyland essentially becomes a detention center. Disney has been doing this for decades and seems to handle the booze, drugs, and sex that accompanies an entire night of partying high school seniors. For those that get out of hand entirely, they end up in Disney jail. Yes, that's a thing. Those that end up in Disney jail seldom come back to the park. Ever. It's more a matter of staying out of real jail. Disney jail is like a movie jail. Underground, bars on the door, dim lighting, a cot to sit on. They revoke all your passes, and they keep records that you never get park passes again if they can help it. You don't want to go to Disney jail. Disney Orlando discontinued Grad Night in 2011. Disneyland in Anaheim is moving Grad Night from the main park over to the California Adventure. Number 6. The Wizard of Braz. At its opening in 1955, Walt Disney relied on the sponsorship of independent merchants and corporations to keep Disney afloat. The park had a number of shops where guests could purchase goods and merchandise quite different than is available today. Opening on the first day of Disneyland was a store called Intimate Apparel, Braziers and Torsalettes. This shop was sponsored by Hollywood Maxell Brazier Company of Los Angeles. Half of the store sold lingerie, like a 1955 version of Victoria's Secret. The other half of the store was a museum of the history of underwear. Yes, inside the museum was an animatronic robot-like man doll called the Wizard of Braz. The robot wore a turban and spoke from a revolving stage using synced tape recordings. The Wizard of Braz was your guide to the wonder of underwear. Other featured exhibits included an authentic Singer sewing machine from 1860 and 3D boxes that allowed you to turn your head, causing an image of a fully dressed 1900s female model to have their outer clothing dissolve and their pantaloons and corsets to appear. Number 5. Protests. In 2008, over 1,000 supporters of Disneyland Hotel employees in Anaheim blocked traffic, disobeyed police orders, and stood in the roadways to protest the company's contract talks. Employees said they had worked without a contract for 8 months and had enough. A number of the protesters were dressed as Disney characters. There were 28 arrests. In 2017, at Walt Disney World in Florida, protests marched against Disney CEO Bob Iger's participation with President Donald Trump in his Strategic and Policy Forum. In this case, the protests numbered about 60 people, including members of Disney's biggest unions, who joined together and chanted, "Donald Duck, not Donald Trump." Number 4. Naked animation frames. Animators produce a minimum of 12 to 15 drawings per second of film or video, sometimes up to 24 to 30 frames per second. Needless to say, sometimes animators get bored drawing the same things over and over hundreds of times. Occasionally, they like to slip a little something in just for fun. After all, who is going to notice one picture go by at 1/12 of a second? It turns out, in today's world of digital pause on demand, everybody notices. In 1999, Disney recalled their home video of The Rescuers. The intrepid heroes, Bernard and Bianca, fly through the air in their sardine can airplane against a backdrop of tall buildings. At 2 separate times, in a window of those buildings, the image of a topless woman is visible. Needless to say, parents who thought they saw something paused the tape, rewound, and went back to check. Actually, they did find what they suspected. They declared their displeasure to the Disney Corporation. It turns out that the naked woman has been in the movies since the beginning, but at 24 frames a second and in only 2 non-consecutive frames, she wasn't noticed until the digital age. Now she's been exposed. Number 3. No bones about it. Pirates of the Caribbean is one of the world's most popular Disney rides. It was the last major attraction that Walt Disney himself worked on before his death in 1966. To feel the sensation of the boat ride through the bayou without the river water, Walt was pushed through the construction on a dolly. His Imagineers listened to his reactions as each section appeared. Then, 3 months before the Pirates of the Caribbean opened, Walt Disney died. And as almost everyone knows, death plays a significant role in pirate stories. Throughout Pirates are scattered many human skeletons. In today's world of computerized, plasticized, manufactured everything, we correctly assume that the skeletons we see are artificial. But when the ride opened in 1967, many if not most of them were actual human skeletons. The phony skeletons of the period just looked too fake, and Walt wanted something much more realistic. So he got it. The UCLA Medical Center provided real human skeletons. Over time, the human skeletons were replaced with newer generation synthetic skeletons, and were given a proper burial. But one human skull remains. It is said that the skull attached to the headboard of the bed in the lower cavern is a real human skull. It is the one with 2 swords crossed underneath. But rumors abound that the skeleton trapped under a burning beam in the jailhouse is authentic, and that 2 skulls on a small island are genuine. But who knows for sure? Dead men tell no tales. Number 2. Crimes against minors. Since 2006, there have been dozens of arrests and convictions over 32 of Disney cast members for sex crimes, mostly with children. There is the 2014 case of Alan Treaster, a former concierge from Toy Story in Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge in Walt Disney World, Florida. Off hours, Treaster turned up at a house that turned out to be a sting setup by Polk County Sheriff's detectives. Treaster was hoping to fulfill a fantasy with the 14-year-old boy. He and 3 other Disney cast members were taken down in sex stings at that time. Disney has stated that it conducts thorough background checks on all employees and handles these incidents quickly and permanently. Number 1. Disney Takedown. U.S. copyright and trademark laws say that if you don't perform due diligence to protect your trademarks, you may lose them. Even if that's true, it doesn't seem likely that 3 small Florida daycare centers with Mickey painted on the walls were going to deny the Walt Disney Company the rights to its famous mouse. However, Disney's lawyers thought otherwise. Disney was fighting with Universal Studios over the same issue at the time, trademarked character use. Apparently, they were sensitive to the issue. Maybe they still had the trademark lawyers on retainer. When 3 Florida daycare centers posted 5-foot-tall unlicensed character paintings and Disney found out about it, that was all it took. No fair, they must come down. Disney does not endorse these daycare centers and does not give out free character licenses. Otherwise, they'd have to give out free licenses to Universal Studios or something. Anyway, down came the paintings. Strictly business, of course. Nothing personal. Certainly, the kids love Disney even more now.